To all the killers and the $100 billers. I got you stuck off the realness. Keep them shook crews running like they supposed to. I got you stuck off the realness. They come around but they never come close to. You're minor, we major, you're minor, we major.
I bet in a couple hours he'll probably have it doing tricks nobody else has even thought of.
Crash the fair light.
Need some help.
Joe.
Keyboard went dead.
You wiped out the disk.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll reprogram it for you.
Oh.
Nah, I gotta get going.
Going?
Because I'm
I
jealous.
wanted to use the studio for a while to try out some sounds for your New Year's Eve show at the Roxy.
I don't need new sounds, man. What I got's plenty. It's plenty good enough to get me the gig.
Excuse me, Robert. Kenny, what's the matter?
Oh, nothing's the matter.
Kirk State.
Yeah. What I have is enough. You heard the man. You heard the most honorable Double K. Even though he was Joe. You heard the man. What I have is enough. It was enough to get me the gig. You know what I'm saying? I spoke to a lot of cats, right? Turn that down. I spoke to a lot of cats, a lot of beat makers, a lot of producers, a lot of gearheads, etc., you know what I mean? And I kind of feel the Joe, you know what I mean? I kind of feel animosity, all because Kai put out a long-awaited addition to a classic, which is now undeniably a vintage machine, right? The Kai MPC X is officially a vintage machine, along with the 3000, 4000, 2000, etc., for the simple fact that they came out with the SE, the MPCX Special Edition, okay? Which is the newest one, right? So that would make the one before that vintage, am I lying? You know what I mean? No. So check this out. What I have is enough. And what we mean by that, I gotta school some of y'all that's a little upset. You might want it. You might want to trade what you have in, etc. I've made several videos on this topic before, right? Addressing gear fanboys, addressing certain gear heads, etc. You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, we're gonna go back. You can go back and look at some of the other videos. There was an interview with Dr. Dre. He said, it does not matter what you use as long as you tweak it and make it work for you, right? As long as you can master whatever it is. It's 2023. There are several options out there, from DAWs, software, iPad apps, all kind of standalone machines, SP44, rolling this, rolling that, Akai this, machine that. You know what I'm saying? Koala this, koala that. You know what I'm saying? Beatmaker 3, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you use as long as you get the job done with your craft, okay? But most of you, I know this can be a hobby, right? Okay, if you're into collecting gear, I get it, right? If you're into making a vibe, this is where you got to let stuff go. If you're into creation, something out of nothing, this is where you got to let it go, player. You cannot let every time some new gear pop up, you got to run and purchase it, right? Master the stuff you've had. I don't care how old it is. If it's 2 days old, 20 days old, 20 years old, it doesn't matter. Master what you have. Let me tell you another story, right? When I got the MPC 2000, it just came out. I was in Sandmash or whatever it was. Like I said it several times. I walked into this store. It was sitting up front on a table by itself. Basically, back then, if you wanted to take it, you could have just walked out the store with it, but things wasn't that bad. This was in the late 90s, right? But it's another story. So I seen MPC, you know what I'm saying? And I just grabbed it. I had to, right? And the thing about it is, the reason I'm telling you this is that was the only thing around for me, right? 2000 XL hadn't come out. My cousin had the MPC 60 and all of that, right? But those machines, you were blessed back then not to have no distractions, right? These days, you got your MPCX, your Live 2, your machine, whatever it is, your DAW, and especially your DAW if you're using it on the computer, right? You have distractions, okay? And it's very hard, I would say these days, if you're not some young kid, you don't got bills to pay and stuff like that, you can lock yourself in a room and master the equipment, right? We all seen those viral videos of the kid. I think he's using Ableton or something, making classics, right? You got to be that little kid, right? In your mind. I don't care what it is you use, if it doesn't have to be an XSC, it doesn't have to be any of that crap. You know what I'm saying? I want you to be that little kid in that room cranking out. I want you to learn every knob on what it does. Don't worry about messing something up, okay? I want you to learn every inch, because let me tell you something. Once you learn every inch of a piece of equipment, it'll be very hard to steer you away from that, especially when you're a creator. Like I said, some people are into collecting things, and there's no problem with that. I got several things I collect all over the place, right? But gear is really not one of the things I actually collect. I have stuff that I've acquired. I wouldn't call it a collection. I got several turntables, controllers, this, that, and the other. Got an old machine here, etc., etc. But to me, I'm not collecting these things. I'm acquiring these things to, because I love creating music and stuff like that. But I'm not obsessed with the newest shiny object that comes out. You know what I'm saying? You have to pay attention to what you have. The grass is not greener on the other side of the Guitar Center wall. Same way with your girl, your wife. The grass is not always greener on the other side. You can go and spend $3,000 on the new shiny Akai, whatever it is, Native Instruments, whatever it is. It doesn't matter if you don't know how to use it. It doesn't matter if you do not master it in some kind of way. I want you to picture yourself and lock yourself in a mental cell. I bet if they told you you had to go to a prison cell, 23-hour a day lockdown, right? And they gave you a MPC 1, and they gave you a 1 crate of records with about 40 records in it, and you couldn't come out for, 2 years, and they let you have that MPC 1, I guarantee you'd be the best beat maker on this planet Earth. I'm telling you. And that's the kind of mindset that you have to make a connection with whatever it is that you use, right? Make a connection with these machines. Make a connection with Ableton. Make a connection with Logic Pro. Whatever it is, I want you to master it inside and out. So when the next shiny thing comes up, it won't matter to you. You know what I'm saying? You won't care what so-and-so's doing on YouTube, because you're making bangers with something less than that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen kids, or I've seen guys, men, whatever, in the DJ world, right? You know, I came from the DJ world, right? Made the natural progression to beat making. I've seen kids with I'll say Mitch, that's some ghetto word, right? Mixed, matched turntables, right? You got a old Sears turntable, and you actually have a Technics 1200 turntable with a Radio Shack mixer, right? And guess what? They made some of the best mixtapes. I ain't talking about a rap tape. I'm talking about an actual tape that was mixed with vinyl records of the latest songs, hip hop, club music, house music, whatever. They made some of the best stuff with some of the most raggedy equipment you ever seen. And you know why? Because it didn't matter to them. The only thing that mattered to them is how it sounded when it came out. Once you put that cassette tape in your car from that raggedy equipment that they made that mix on, and it sounded cranking, and you cranked it up or whatever, you wasn't riding around asking yourself, oh, I bet you he had two 1200s. No, you wasn't doing that. See what I'm saying? So that's the same thing with this new equipment. It doesn't matter what you use. Will some of this stuff make it a little easier? Yes. Yes, it will. Don't get me lying. Don't get me wrong here. But I want you to master what you have and appreciate the things you have now to get you along to where you need to be and where you're destined to be. The only way you're going to reach that destiny is by mastering what you have. It needs to be said. You have to appreciate what you have to catch more blessings, as they always say.